Chapter 8, Lesson 4 is on area of, and you can guess it, circles. The area of a circle is pi, which we use the symbol that looks like this, pi, times the radius, which is r squared. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi times the radius. Pi has several values. As a decimal, we use 3 and 1400ths, and as a fraction, we use 22 sevenths, 22 over 7. All three of these things, the formula and the two ways to write pi, are on your formula chart that you are able to use for STAR. There are a couple terms we need to refresh our memory on, two that we learned back in Chapter 4. And the first circle, I'm going to illustrate that with what's called the diameter. The center, all the way to its edge on both sides, straight through the middle, is the diameter. D-I-A-M-E-T-E-R, diameter. The other word I'm going to review starts at the center also, but only goes halfway across from the center to the edge, and that's called the radius. Radius. The first example is to find the area of this circle rounded to the nearest hundredth. We'll draw the circle to the side, and it gives us the diameter. We can label diameter with D, diameter of 15 6/10 centimeters. In order to know the radius, you have to get half of the diameter. Radius is equal to half of the diameter. So that would be 15 6/10 divided by 2. 2 into 15 6/10. Do the math to the side. Basic division. You get 7 8/10. 7 8/10. So now we take the formula, which is area times pi times the radius times the radius. Pi, we use 3 and 1400ths times 7 8/10 times 7 8/10. Multiply the 7 8/10 times the 7 8/10 first. You can pause the video and do the math. That is correct. You get 60 and 8400ths. Then you multiply that by pi. You pause the camera again. Very good. If you got 191 and 376 10,000ths, you are correct. If you noticed up above, it does say the round to the nearest hundredth. This is the tenths, hundredths. So we look at the 7 next to the 3. 4 less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. 7 tells the 3 to go up to a 4. Keep the 0, keep the decimal, keep the 1, 9, 1. Your final answer is 191 400ths centimeters squared. Don't forget the label. Especially if you're working online and have worksheets to do, you have to have the label as part of your answer. centimeters squared. Everything in area is in square units. Let's do one more example where we're given the radius, a circle with a radius of 7 feet. Always write the formula A equal pi r squared, which means pi times the radius times the radius. Pi, again, is 3 14/100. But, like in this example, sometimes you can use 22/7 for pi, especially if the radius or the diameter were a multiple of 7. And 7 is a multiple of 7, so we're going to use 22/7 for pi times 7 times 7. Now those two 7s are whole numbers, so if you're multiplying, that's right, we're fixing to do a fraction problem. And what really helps is the multiples of 7. See how the 7 and the 7 canceled each other out? Now you're left with 22 times 7 over 1, 1, and 1. So you don't have to multiply 1 times 1 times 1 and put a 1 on the bottom, because then you just have to take it back off. 22 times 7, 154. 154 feet squared would be the area of the circle with a radius of 7. And we use 22/7 for pi instead of the decimal. Could we have used the decimal? Yes, we could. But we used the fraction because our radius was a multiple of 7.